What I have to say today is a little bit more serious. I know in the past, most of my YouTube videos have been, really lighthearted and funny, and it's just my way of getting through this pandemic is to have some humor, because if you're not laughing, you're crying, right? And that's kind of my philosophy. So I really want to talk about something serious today because it really weighs heavily in my heart. Needless to say, 2020 has been a really challenging year for a lot of us. First, we have this pandemic, and then we have the lockdowns, and a lot of small businesses struggling due to the lockdowns. And you have a lot of this anti-Asian racism, which I felt personally. I'd going to the grocery store and going to the hardware store to buy essentials was quite an ordeal for a while there, where people give me some really dirty looks, thinking that I brought the virus somehow to this country, America, and little do they know that one of my brothers is a fire captain, and a lot of my sisters, 2 sisters, are nurses. So with that said, it's been rough, and then, we had a young man, Ahmad, who was gunned down in Georgia for jogging, an African-American man. And then just recently we had Mr. Floyd, who died from police brutality. And it's crazy. It's been a crazy year, and we're only in June. And there's just so much division and so much anger. And a lot of people, I get it, I get the sense of fear and anger and uncertainty and all of that at the same time, and it sucks. It just weighs heavily in my heart to see so many people struggling at so many different levels, and to compound the issues, you have all these looters who are tearing up small businesses that have been a staple to these communities for a really long time. And a lot of these small businesses are owned by minorities, people of color, and they can't afford to have their businesses ransacked. I mean, they just went through a shutdown, basically, due to COVID. And now you have these protesters, let's make it straight, these looters, not protesters, peaceful protesters, but these looters coming in and tearing up these small businesses. So on top of that, they have to deal with the loss of merchandise or a burnt down business, worst case scenario. And people say, oh, they got insurance. Well, maybe they do, but as you know, most insurance companies are not going to reimburse you. I mean, they don't make it so easy for people. It's easy for you to give them the money, but they're not going to reimburse you right away. I mean, a lot of them find ways to deny the reimbursement. Not to mention the months and months that it takes to rebuild to do the construction on that business and to rebuild it up. So the loss of revenue, that you're having while your business is still being rebuilt. So there's just a lot of things going on, and there still is. I mean, I hear I live in the city, and I hear helicopters and police sirens every night, due to the protest. And I understand the anger, and I understand why there's so much anger, because racism is something that we need to talk about in this country, in America. And we really need to have a good discussion about it. And it's from both sides. And we need to sit there and listen to each other and understand why one side feels it and the other side doesn't. As a person of color myself, a minority, a lot of times when I talk about the discrimination that I've been through in my life, I automatically get shut down. Oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, people think Asians are a model minority, blah, 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 Oh, you don't need to deal with those racists, just walk away or blah, blah, blah. But I think that's BS. I mean, the reality is we need to sit down and we need to understand each other. And it comes from both sides. And until we do that, this is going to continue. Because neither side is willing to sit down and listen to the other. And until we stop looking at ourselves as different races versus just one race, and that's the human race, then we can move forward. Because no race is better than the other. So what COVID has taught us is that we're all the same. We're all one race, the human race. Because of those, the truth, only Asians will have COVID-19, or only Latinos will have it, But the reality is it's affecting all of us. I mean, it's killing every race across the spectrum. So what does that tell you about race? We're all the same. We all get this disease, and we all have the same signs and symptoms. I've traveled the world. I've been to just about every continent in the world. I've been to Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America. And one thing that I learned when I'm traveling across the world and talking to the locals is that we're all the same. We all want the same things in life. We all want food, we all want shelter, we want a better life for ourselves as well as for our families. And that's universal across the board. We're all the same. Nobody is better than anybody else. I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but we're all the same. And just because some person thinks that they're better than me because they look differently, well, it's not true. We're just both human beings trying to exist in this world and trying to figure out our purpose and what it is in life that we need to do to make this world a better place to be. My friends, in closing, what I have to say is that let's all continue to love each other and continue to support each other. And let's take the leadership in our own hands, because we're not getting it from our president.